it was that beach. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to have you back here with me today because today is another story time where I'm going to be talking about country number 64 of 196 on my expedition around the world, and that country is Antigua and Barbuda. So without further ado, let's dive in. So I visited Antigua and Barbuda in January of 2016, from January 12th to January 14th. So 2 nights, 3 days, and I was actually in Antigua. I hopped through the Caribbean pretty quickly. First of all, the Caribbean is kind of a tourist destination for Americans and people within Latin America as well. There's a lot of resorts and fun things to do, and it's definitely, I would say for the majority of the Caribbean, it's a place to go with friends or family to just have a good time in the sun. But with that said, there is a lot of culture hidden underneath all that showy like 1-800-Sandals stuff. And there were a few countries in the Caribbean that I would love to go back to again, places where I experienced some incredible culture and really got to know the locals, which to me is really special, especially if I'm only there for a couple days. I'd rather kind of not see the touristy stuff and rather dive deep into the culture and the local traditions and the local heritage and just the local people and experiencing their way of life. So Antigua and Barbuda is located, goes without saying, in the Caribbean, and is comprised of 2 namesake islands, as well as several smaller ones. Their official language is English, and 74% of the population is Christian. Antigua was visited in 1493 by Christopher Columbus, who named it for the Church of Santa Maria de la Antigua in Sevilla, Spain. It was colonized by English settlers in 1632 and remained a British possession, although it was raided by the French in 1666. Some fun places to visit while in Antigua and Barbuda are Darkwood Beach, which is actually supposed to be spectacular, a place that I had on my list to visit whilst there, and Shirley Heights Lookout. Of course, Antigua is not only known for its beaches, but also its history, and for that, you're going to want to check out Fort Barrington. If you're into snorkeling and stingrays, then you could visit Stingray City. Another beach you might want to check out is Friars Beach with 2 F's. This is a beach that I visited while I was in Antigua, and you might be thinking, right, it's just a beach, but in Antigua and Barbuda as well, there's some really, really gorgeous, pristine white sand beaches, turquoise waters, that kind of thing that you can really only find in the Caribbean. Now, you can also find that in the Maldives and Seychelles to a certain extent, different areas, and also, of course, Bora Bora, French Polynesia, that sort of thing. But the Caribbean is special because it's just so pristine and it's just so different than anywhere in the world when it comes to the beaches and the water. In eastern Antigua, there's Devil's Bridge National Park that boasts natural blowholes that shoot up water and spray, and that is powered by the waves of the Atlantic Ocean. Visitors say that it is a little bit dangerous, so just beware. I've never personally been there, but hey, I'm here telling you about Antigua and Barbuda, so this might be a place that you want to visit. And if you're looking for some high-end cuisine, check out Sheer Rocks, which is in St. Mary in Antigua. They have traditional Caribbean cuisine, local cuisine, seafood, and that sort of stuff, and it looks really delicious. You also might want to check out Island Fusion Cafe, which has incredible views of the marina and also has traditional dishes as well. So I actually have my journal on my computer here. It always takes a lot of time for me to dig up my journal and everything when it comes to these vlogs because I have all of these external hard drives and I kind of have to go through them all to try and like find it, and I didn't necessarily organize them properly, so they're all over the place. But here I have my journal and I'm going to read it off to you. So here we go. VC Bird International Airport was 100% different than from Dominica. I think I'd actually come from Dominica to Antigua, and then after Antigua I headed to St. Kitts. It was huge, it was clean and very well organized and totally ready and prepared for tourists. I hopped in a cab that would take me to the resort that I was sponsored at, which was Sugar Ridge Resort. Now, this resort has gone through a lot of improvements since I was there in 2016. If you look it up online right now, it looks really great, really beautiful and nice, and it kind of looks like, when I saw it, it brought back memories, but I kind of was shocked that I was able to get something like a resort of that caliber during my expedition around the world. I only had like 2,000 followers on my Instagram account at that time, and so it was more kind of, I would be sponsored at these hotels and places simply out of, they might like my mission expedition and what I'm doing and what I was after, and so they just wanted to help me out. So when I was sponsored by hotels on this expedition around the world, that's typically what it was. They were intrigued by what I was doing and wanted to help a girl out when it came to saving some money and promoting the resort as well and their culture. A lot of the places that I was sponsored at, they also saw a benefit in potentially being in the local news or being worldwide news, so they saw kind of a media benefit as well to it, and oftentimes they would be featured in, say, BuzzFeed when my expedition was finished, or even during, and they asked me what was my favorite place or where did I stay, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of how I was able to, but if you look it up, it looks really great. When I was there, it wasn't as, and they were actually going through some construction when I was there. Upon arrival, they checked me in and I headed to my room, and the staff were also really happy that I was there. I did have to hike up several sets of stairs with all of my stuff. They didn't offer to help, but it was okay because it's something that I am used to now. When I entered, the room was surprisingly small, though the bed awning made it look really nice and cozy. It was your traditional Caribbean resort room, not fancy, not dingy, but somewhere kind of in between. It had a small little pool on the porch. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to use this because it was dirty. Also, quick note, no minibar. Minibars are always nice to have after a long travel day, although I'm trying really hard not to drink. I was starving, so I ordered this pasta with goat cheese. Goat cheese is one of my favorite cheeses in the world. I'm actually kind of more vegan now. I've kind of given up cheese, but goat cheese is one of my favorites, and I'm so sorry, and maybe they've improved over the years, but I said here it was incredibly dry, so. I got there later in the evening and I went straight to bed, and that was it for arrival day. The next morning I woke up and I didn't feel so great. I went to the breakfast area and had a really nice breakfast and then headed back up to my room. I was in my room most of the day uploading this vlog. So I will link the Antigua vlog here or in the description box below so you can check that out. I don't remember editing, but this is what I'm reading here. It's very cloudy. Yeah, oftentimes on my expedition, like I've said before, it was a lot of work to be able to continue on this expedition. So oftentimes I would arrive, I go straight to bed because it was a long travel day, and then I'd get up and work until I needed to get the majority of the work done. This day it was around midday, 3 p.m. that I stopped working and then decided to explore. So at around 3 p.m. I decided to head out to this amazing beach that seemed like it had turquoise waters and white sand, at least from what I could see from my view. It was that beach. It was Fry's Beach. I hitched a free shuttle to the beach. The mother and daughter were also from the States, and they were definitely talking up a storm. It had been a while since I talked to someone that much. I ordered a quesadilla and a water and ate it and walked around for the better half of the day. The beach was very crowded. When I went to leave, I went to the beach where I was waiting for the same shuttle, and this guy came up to me and started making conversation, asking me if I was single. He wouldn't stop staring at me. I was very cold with him. And hey, girls out there, women out there, don't ever feel like if a man approaches you, you have to be nice and sweet. You don't. You can be cold and stern and walk away. Never feel that you have to be nice and sweet. And I think so far with these Storytime series, you see how much harassment I've received, and I wouldn't call this, maybe a light form of harassment. This guy wouldn't leave me alone. He kept staring at me and I did feel uncomfortable. Just know that you can walk away and you can be cold with them. You don't have to be like sweet. Girls are not required to be sweet towards stranger men, just to let you know. Sometimes I've just had enough. The van came and left, and he went right past the hotel to pick up other people instead of dropping me off. But finally, when I was dropped off, I went upstairs and did some more vlogging. And then I went to the restaurant to order some ice cream and water, which was really, really refreshing because I had a huge headache. The servers were so f***ing mean. Okay. Just because I was alone, they treated me like, they gave me one scoop of ice cream and they sent me off. I'm sure their customer service has gotten better over the years. I'm huge into reviewing hotels, and I have been since the age of 18. I've worked in the hospitality industry since I was 15. I've worked at everything from $10 hostels up to $2,000 a night luxury resorts, and also sustainable hotels. And so I'm really picky when it comes to hospitality. I wouldn't say I'm picky, I'd just say I'm very observant, and I also like to help them out. So part of getting sponsored at a hotel is they give me the best experience typically, and then I offer them any suggestions that I think would make the experience better for other people that would want to stay there. I also give an honest review, and I provide my best work of the hotel, so photos and videos, vlog, or whatever I can do. At that time, I didn't have the best experience there. I remember I had a headache because I was dehydrated. So it's a hot country, Antigua and Barbuda, so you just have to really be prepared to drink a lot of water when you go there. And I will say that I don't want to sound negative, but I want to give you the real experience here. A lot of the times when I traveled alone around the world with my backpack, I wasn't necessarily looking like sophisticated. I didn't have any makeup on it and my hair, you know, whatever. I was just traveling pretty ruggedly with my backpack. And even though I was staying in a nice hotel or wherever I was, even at a restaurant or at the airport, I felt that I was kind of discriminated against a little bit because I was traveling alone and because I didn't look pretty or anything, you know? So it was kind of a double-edged sword because I would get this harassment from men and then I'd also experience subpar service and glaring eyes because I was traveling alone, and especially to a place like Antigua where it's such a vacation spot that people tend to travel to with friends or a family member or a partner. So they kind of would rather treat the people who are there on vacation, per se, a little bit better than they're going to treat myself, who's just traveling there alone for a couple nights backpacking, so they see it. So it was a little bit challenging to experience that throughout my expedition, and I did get that throughout the Caribbean. You will notice a lot of the countries in the Caribbean are developing countries. So when it comes to the hospitality industry, they kind of will reach for the people who are looking to spend an all-out vacation there, and they see them as having a lot of money to get back for tips or buy the more expensive meal or a bottle of wine or whatnot. They wouldn't spend their time on me because I'm there alone and I don't want a vacation. I mean, it's just perceiving. It's how they perceive you. It's kind of a bummer, but that's what I experienced. Experience in Antigua wasn't the best, but I really hope to come back at some point and have a different experience and maybe come back with a friend or so. There's also a lot of places that I want to come back to and see when I have a little bit more of a budget. The Zika virus is happening right now, and so they were spraying a lot of pesticides all over. They didn't warn us about this, and when they'd spray, we had to stay indoors. It was kind of a given. It's so unhealthy. I just had to stay indoors when they were spraying, and it kind of landed on the pool, and so I didn't want to go inside the pool. Yeah. Alright. I was supposed to receive a package and they didn't end up getting it to me. FedEx in Antigua is a bit unorganized. Sometimes, because I wasn't able to go home that often, I would ask if a friend or one of my parents could send me some of the stuff that I needed. Maybe it was paperwork for some of my visas that I needed to get in. Maybe it was a passport. Sometimes it was clothes that I would swap out. This was a very fast trip, so I had to really be cautious of the time and also my budget. And so the budget for sending clothes to myself when I was in a new country was cheaper than buying new clothes, essentially. So that's kind of what I would end up doing. So the next morning, I woke up and checked out and headed to St. Kitts. The taxi took me to Lyat Cargo, where I finally obtained my package, thankfully. They opened the package to ensure that everything was in it, like I said. They looked at me and then they talked about the things that were in there, and that was pretty much it. I was really grateful to have my package, and I was bummed that I didn't have the best experience in Antigua, but I really, really want to come back, and there's a lot more things that I want to see here. I checked in for my flight and headed off to St. Kitts. I did speak to some people there in Antigua. You guys have to understand that a place like Antigua, it's not a place like Algeria where you have predominantly locals there who you can easily go up to and talk to and learn more about the culture. In Antigua, it's a lot of tourists, so I don't really feel as comfortable going up to tourists, especially since they're on vacation, and asking them certain questions and getting to know where I should go. It's just not my place. And the people who work there are kind of really focused on work, and they're more going to give me suggestions and conversation that they would give a typical tourist who's going to visit. So it was a little bit difficult and challenging given that I was only allowed to take scheduled public transportation during the expedition. So I wasn't able to take a private car or a taxi too far, no more than 30 miles or something like that, 30 miles or 50 kilometers or whatnot. So I was limited to where I could go. So with that said, it wasn't the best experience, but it's just because there were a lot of things adding to that. Pesticide spray, the hotel wasn't that great, I had a headache, I wasn't really guided in the right direction of where to go once there. I didn't know anyone when I went there, I didn't have any SCOL meetings, I didn't know any ministers of tourism who were there or IAPT members. So it's okay, it's totally chill, and I honestly think it's a great vacation spot. So if you are looking to go to Antigua and have a nice vacation, I think it's great. Unfortunately, I can't really speak to the culture or anything else other than the beaches. So I'm glad I was able to share my brief experience in Antigua and Barbuda, and let me know what you think in the comments below. I promise you guys, these vlogs are only going to get better. There are some countries where I was sick or I didn't have the best experience. There were some countries where I had an incredible experience. I would say Afghanistan was one of those countries. Coming up, we have Argentina, and that's going to be an incredible one. So stay tuned for that one. Hey guys, please be sure to like this video if you liked it, as it really supports my channel, and be sure to subscribe to get notified when I post new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I want to know, have you been to Antigua and Barbuda? Let me know in the comments below, and if you have any suggestions of where to go, perhaps you can help out others in the comments below as well. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!